Namaste. You know that I cannot teach you how to be silent. I can only remind you that everything that you want and you think that you need so you can be content. It's just a pattern of thinking. And that if you let go of this pattern, you discover the magic of being silent. Collected in the moment. In this moment, there is nothing that no special skills that I have or talent that you don't have. I simply have no goals or dreams to fulfill. And nothing that needs to be achieved. So, resting into the moment is naturally happening. I don't even want to rest into the moment. If I would want that, it would also become an effort. If I would want to be silent, that would be my noise. But we are afraid to be without any wanting. We either want to become somebody, or we want to achieve something, or we want to be silent. We forgot what it's like to be beyond wanting, to simply be. We are afraid of it, because that emptiness that knocks in, that emptiness that expands, is changing the way we see reality. We are used to see reality through what we will achieve, what we can fulfill. And every time the goal is changing, sometimes materialistic, sometimes spiritual, wanting this, wanting that. Without this wanting, you do not exist. To go beyond wanting is to go beyond the self. Because at this moment you can let go totally. It's always happening at this moment. Always. Happening now. It never happens tomorrow. It never postpones itself. Whenever it will happen, it will be now. You are ready to let go, to dissolve into the emptiness. And this is not an achievement of some spiritual idea that we are carrying in the mind. I want to be enlightened, or I want to be free. I want to find the silence. What do I need to do? When it's a spiritual idea to fulfill, always comes the question, so what do I do? What's the best technique to achieve this goal? And maybe you come here because intellectually you want something. But I called you here Because it is your soul that wants to come into flowering. And it comes into flowering when you are silent, when it is not being stepped on by more wantings and more dividing and judging and dreaming about achieving this or that. When the simplicity of your soul is being allowed to be present without the domination of the mind and ego that split it into wanting better and wanting more and wanting different and so on. When the simplicity of your soul is allowed to rest, to be present, then it comes to flowering, and it's the true fulfillment. That goes deeper than all the mind conditions and wantings that we have. The natural flow of your soul is to come into flowering. As human being, you are experiencing being identified with the mind and the self and the ego, and being identified with rejecting who we are and wanting to be somebody else, and feeling guilty and feeling worthy and unworthy and all these games of the mind. And we are experiencing it. It's a valuable experience. But by and by, we are growing up. And if we are not totally trapped in a state of mind, and we are experiencing moment of heartfulness and of creativity, that becomes the seed. That grows into a presence, and eventually we are ready to go beyond. This eventually always happens now. It cannot happen tomorrow. And it's always suddenly. It can never be planned. Suddenly it knocks on your door like it knocked many other times. But suddenly there is a response. You're not looking over it. You're not denying it or ignoring it because of some fear and because of wanting to be like everybody else, or unconsciously postponing it for tomorrow because you still have some goals that you need to achieve. It knocks on your door and suddenly you're not even saying yes. You just allow it. It's time. Time to rest. And it's not a spiritual achievement. It is knowing that the river has come to the meeting point with the ocean. So please, embrace yourself. You're not here because something is wrong. I cannot help you to achieve the spiritual goal. But I can again remind you while being present with you. The beauty of being silent. Anything that can help you to get into fine-tuning or understanding this delicate space of being present, don't hesitate, please ask. You are safe here.
Is it in my hand to feel, to do something to feel the silence? Can I do something myself for it?
You can recognize what stands between you and the silence. Whether it's a hope or a fear or a dream or attachment or wanting not to want or wanting to be silent or identification with whatsoever, whichever cloud is passing in the mind. You can use your intelligence and your awareness to decode your unconscious. Silence will be the result.
You advise any technique for that?
Some people say there is technique. I look at the spiritual journey as something much more profound than practicing this technique or that technique. For me, it became a lifestyle in the early age. And when the flowering happened, my way of teaching it forward, sharing it forward, was to create it as a lifestyle for whoever wants. That's why I created Pachamama. Pachamama is not a technique, it is a lifestyle. It's not something that you practice between this hour and that hour. It is an alternative lifestyle. And of course, within this lifestyle there is moments of ordinariness and peaks and silence and celebration and pain and pleasure. But I don't see how, with a technique which is a non-flexible method, you can decode something so slippery and so flexible, like the ego. Practicing the technique can make one feel good, or so it's a step. But it cannot. If there was a technique, I would tell you, here, there it is. Practice it for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. At the end, the result is guaranteed if the technique will do the work. But obviously, no one can promise you this. And if someone does promise you that, then obviously they are not speaking the truth. You need to bring the depth of your being, the totality into it. So without this, the technique is shallow. And if you bring this depth of your being the totality into life, it will reveal itself, whichever technique you are using. For me, it's a lifestyle, not a practice. And I'm fortunate to find enough crazy people to adopt this lifestyle. Unlogical, irrational, wild lifestyle. To use that as the platform to grow. Well,
some people advise the question, who I am. You have experience with this as well?
With the question who you are?
Who I am.
We are using it. Within this lifestyle that I described, came the understanding that a patch here and there won't do. This. So we created a womb that will give birth to something very radical and different, to a totally alternative lifestyle, which means first to take this whole human experience into a side road, not on the highway of the mainstream, a side road, and to take it to a different frequency where it serves on more powerful waves of energy. And how you do that? When you clear everything that blocks this energy, the wave of energy to burst, you clear it from the blocks. So physically, the body has to be transformed from the eating habits, from the pollution, from the body has capacity for much more energy to pass through. And then when more energy is passing through the body, and after the emotional system is freed from the blocks of the past, when you take this energetic human being into questioning who is in, then it's very likely that this questioning will be very, very powerful. And when you come out of this questioning, not into daily life but to a silence retreat, a week silence retreat, and then this is what I found, the right rhythm for this process to happen, where who is in this enlightenment intensive is one of the foundations of the Pachamama work. Everybody who wants to do silence retreat in Pachamama, whether they are residents there for 8 years or 6 years or at least once a year, have to do the who is in, if not the Satori, which is the week-long version. Now, it's not that I'm telling them you have to do it, because I cannot tell people what to do in their life. It's not my style. But I'm saying, you want to participate in the silence, you have to go through the who is in. If you don't want, it's okay, just drop the silence. It works. So every year, the whole Pachamama is going through this questioning, who is in laundry machine, and then it's being explored over and over again in silence retreats. And that's the cycle of Pachamama. But to receive a group of 50 or 60, sometimes 100 people after a 4 days intensive, in which they, from 4 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the night, questioning who is in, and the opening of consciousness that is happening there, to receive this group of people and to start with them a silence retreat, is a privilege that not many people who share the truth has had. To take a lake of consciousness and to dive with it into a silence retreat. One more?
For you, Osho is still alive?
Just closer to the mic so I can hear you.
For you, Osho is still alive?
When I first heard about him, he was already embodied. So when I went to Pune, when I heard about him, he was already 2 years out of the body. When I went to Pune a year later, he was still out of the body. And ever since. No, he's not alive. Not in the ordinary sense of that I cannot speak about him in past term and all this. I don't need all these mental tricks to keep the truth alive. Osho was a manifestation of existence. Supreme manifestation of it. Share the truth in a magnificent way. Was my gate to discover it. I bowed down to his feet forever. And his words are eternal. The body that carried this word died long time ago.
Thank you.
I always find myself in tricky situations when it comes to speak about Pachamama. On one hand, I know how powerful is this experience, and clearly part of the reason why I'm doing this summer tour every year is to attract more and more people to come to Pachamama. And since I'm doing this tour all over Europe, and I repeat this invitation again and again, I don't want to bore myself with it, saying it over and over again, so I keep on finding new ways. It's not that this invitation contradicts the understanding that truth is beyond geographical limitations, or it doesn't matter where you are and what you do. But it was designed, this place. In a way that the essence of life is explored so deep there, and the experience is so powerful, and the heart opening that happens to almost everyone that comes there. Makes it very precious and valuable. And of course I would like to also stretch the invitation here. Whenever you feel ready, you are welcome. It's not for nothing that we located it far away in Costa Rica, because I didn't want it to be easy to reach. In the beginning we put it on an island where you can only reach by boat, but then after I stopped to be so fanatic about this, I brought it inland. But
this is 5 his kids, his children?
Yeah. How old is your kid?
One is 1 year and 1 year. The other is 5 and the other 11.
Speak to the mic. We had seven babies born in the last 2 years, and 2 more are on the way. The last one was born a few weeks ago, and 2 more are coming very soon. And there is a nice kindergarten for like all the kids, few older ones, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. Yeah, it's a lifestyle, it's not a commune where you can deny the next generation. And it happened so that the first 6 that were born were boys, and now the next bunch is all girls. So they will be good.
I think I heard you saying the other day something like, you cannot, considering me, you cannot give it to me or to us. Yet, I mean, I have many questions, I just start somehow. Yet yesterday I heard there were people here and you my understanding, you invited them to come forward to get double portion of satsang. Please, I mean, I don't know if I really... yesterday there
double portion?
Or double, or in my understanding...
Overdose, huh?
Yeah, right, yeah. So if I hear, like, you cannot give it, and then on the other hand there is an overdose. And no, it's
okay.
Yeah.
No, it was referring to non-banner. There is no. It's just when someone sits in the back, they can feel more safe and comfortable to drift away, and when they sit in the front, they feel more exposed and therefore more present. So I invited the lady who had difficulties to be present to come forward. That's what means overdose. There is no esoteric mystery behind it.
Yet, I've been recently to many satsangs,
Yeah.
And I'm a sort of pretty judgmental.
You're what?
Judgmental.
You're pretty judgmental.
Yeah. So, if I'm here, or even if I'm in the room, if I try not to judge you negative, then it feels very, very good. So I wonder where that comes from. Just if I don't judge, sit here, not judge and consider.
What comes from?
Pardon?
What comes from?
This wellness, this feeling very good, this immensely good feeling.
Where it comes from?
Yeah, because it's very important for me. If you say you cannot give it, and still if I sit here...
I didn't give you this good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't... It's a good question. Whenever life is passing through you, and it doesn't take the form of the mind, of the ego, which is judging or dividing or choosing or fighting, or when life passes through you and it stays in its natural state, the consciousness that you are feels expanded, and when it's passed through you and it takes the patterns of the mind, then you are in the familiar reality of the divided one. But when life passes through you and stays untouched by the mind, it's expanding, and expanding is what you call feeling good. The same energy that is judgment is the same energy that once liberated from the chains of the mind is love. It's not two different energies. Life is passing through. Which instrument, how tuned is your instrument, that's the music that it will play. If your instrument is tuned on judgment and whatever activity of the mind, it will play music that is not making you expand. And if the instrument is very in tune and aware, it will be divine music. Same energy. There's not two different kind of energies in this existence.
May I ask something more?
Another one.
If possible, yeah.
Okay.
I just choose it.
Go for it, yeah.
It's just 30 and you are gone.
It's just what? Yeah. Good point. That's what I wanted to say, but tomorrow night I will be dancing in the concert of the Police. I'm very excited.
Yeah, but that might
With
be
all my blabbering about not getting excited and not staying centered and everything, I'm very excited.
I heard you saying in my mind something like, you said maybe something like, drink me. And now
maybe I said, sounds like me.
Yeah. So.
Sounds like Jesus also, no? I'm not sure, maybe I did.
I do not remember that so.
Anyway. What's the question?
Yeah. Is that okay in my sort of understanding that I take energy from you? Because still you say you cannot take. I can take whatever I want, huh?
Take whatever you want. On the house.
Thank you.
I have plenty. Just raise your hand if you want to share or to ask something. Yeah.
You ask for sharing, but as soon as I sit here, I have no question.
Then I don't need to give an answer. That's if you sit here and you have no questions, I don't remember if Osho quoted Gautam the Buddha or said it himself when they asked him for what is all the effort of teaching. Because he said 95, something like this, 95, maybe 90%, doesn't matter. 95% of the people won't understand anyway what you are saying, what I'm saying, he said, Osho. The rest will understand me without speaking. They will understand my silence. But there are, in between these two groups, there are those that maybe my words can help them to understand the silence. But what happens to you when you come here and your questions disappears? Don't try to duplicate it later on, because it's not about duplicating. Silence is not something that you redo. But that space where you allow life to enter. Whenever you will do that, your questions will disappear. More questions?
It is about the past. I used to go see a certain master, and then also go to a Zen monastery. And once they asked me where I have been, and I said I was seeing this particular master. And they said, what is so nice about him? I said, well, he has this energy. When I go there, it just overwhelms me, and it's so nice. And this other lady told me, but that is a high. And anybody could do that. Now, I thought that is very important, and I couldn't understand this. Why is it not so good to experience this high? Is it not there? Is it like in the boring life? What do you say?
Maybe this lady was depressed.
Yeah, you would say that. I thought maybe it is not there in that high. Something wrong with this high. We should not.
Nothing wrong with anything. Nothing is wrong, nothing is right. Who can decide these things? Who can say that this is better than that? Or who can claim to know? This is right and this is wrong. Life is so much vaster than what we can know about it. You go, everything is interconnected. Maybe when you leave the house, you forget something. And you say, oh, I'm in a hurry, I shouldn't have forgot. But maybe you go back to the house to pick it up. Maybe in the meantime, because you got delayed, you didn't get ran over by a bus or something, Who knows what is right, what is wrong. You experienced high. Suchness. Why it has to be labeled or categorized? There is conscious and unconscious. If in the flame of truth, the self, the ego burns. Life continues. When I go home, I'll go to have a light dinner and then maybe hear some music or do whatever and everything, normal life. But there will be nobody who's no illusion there of self. It will be emptiness, aware of itself, experiencing life. And maybe it will be high, maybe it will be ordinary, who knows? And in ignorance, state of ignorance, I would go home and think, I am eating and I am doing this and doing that, where it's all just a happening. We are emptiness and it's happening through us. I'm not giving satsang, satsang is happening. It's the truth is a flame that burns the illusion of self. Everything else moves on. Nothing changes in this reality. Breathing oxygen, eating food, peaks, valleys. I want this lady to tell me that my excitement about tomorrow's night concert is wrong. I would give her such a look. You are telling me what is right and what is wrong. What is this? Who are you to decide? What? The joy tomorrow night will be a cause for forgetfulness? No, there will be total awareness the whole time that the joy is on the surface and in the essence nothing has been touched. But the surface is also something to live. All ideas are dangerous because all ideas are having the potential to clash with reality. You feel high, the spiritual mind says it's wrong. You feel low, the spiritual mind says, but you should feel high, you should feel good. The mind always has the weird tendency to overlook this moment. It has the weird tendency that whatever is happening, this is not it. Something else should happen. Something better, something more, something different. And it is so easy to speak to new agers, to seekers who are coming vulnerable, and to tell them what you are doing is wrong. This is not right. You should do this. You should do that, and present it, wrap it, coat it with spiritual agenda. It's more delicate, it's more sophisticated than that. There is no right and wrong. It's conscious and unconscious. You can be in heaven. And if you are not conscious and you are trapped in the illusion of self, it will turn into a hell. And you can be in the most ordinary moment. And if you are not trapped in the illusion of self that is judging it and telling you this should be different and this is boring, if you are conscious, then that very moment becomes a temple of silence. Religiousness is consciousness. Consciousness is being present here and now. Forgetfulness is being unconscious. This dividing between when we're not fully conscious is where suffering starts. No agenda, no idea to cling to, not knowing, emptiness. When you become blank, but consciously blank. Not blank because you got wasted by smashing the brain with 5 beers, or I don't know how much you need to drink to get smashed. Consciously blank, empty. When you are blank from all ideas, all knowing, you become the page which life is writing itself on. And when we are not blank, we are full of ideas and full of knowledge and dreams and how it should be and what's right and what's wrong. It's a continuous clash with reality. Freedom is emptiness, conscious emptiness. And in that conscious emptiness, you are totally in tune with the moment. Be present. See, recognize, dare to recognize, dare to go beyond the pattern that tells you that your happiness is yet to be achieved. Your dreams are yet to be achieved, but in the moment there is a graceful, subtle vibe of joy, of peace. Dare to recognize it. Blessings.
I want to ask, frustrated?
You what?
I feel very frustrated inside since a long time. Somehow I don't really know what is this.
What is frustration? You know what is frustration.
I know that I don't get what I want.
Okay. What do you want? Many things.
I know.
So you said, you gave the answer.
Yeah, but there are things, I know that things are wrong. That my life gives me limits and I'm not really in peace with that.
You're not?
In peace with the limits I'm getting.
Why?
It's like an automatism that wants.
Want. Okay, then
I,
inquire if this wanting and achieving is really what's going to bring peace, and if you get the answer that yes, this is what you want, this is what you need, then continue to run after it. But your inquiry has to be very, 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 very sharp. Piercing through this illusion. Because it's a method. That breaks the illusions. As you said, frustration is when you don't get what you want. Frustration is not the problem that needs to be solved. It's a symptom that reflects that you are fighting and that you are resisting the moment. And the funny thing is that, like I told you in the first night, it's not that you disagree with me when I'm telling you that expanding into the moment, surrendering into it is bliss. You don't disagree with me. You agree with me, you accept it, you had glimpses of it. But between this agreeing and accepting and how you flow in the daily life, there is a gap. Like the understanding of satsang is still not manifested into daily life. In the daily life, although you know and it's very clear for you that the space of expansion is beyond wanting, in the daily life you get dressed with this illusion again. Maybe you want not to want. It can be very frustrating to want not to want while the wanting is going on. I'm not saying don't desire, don't want. I'm telling you that see the place, this state of being that is beyond the desire, that is beyond the wanting. Why are you crying? Because you feel sorry for yourself? Because you are a failure in achieving what is right. No tears are needed. The only tears that are needed are the tears of gratitude that comes selflessly. But you don't need an emotional response to what I'm saying. It's not a game between succeeding and failing, frustration and satisfaction. It's going beyond this game. More questions? Sharing. If you work with effort,
and I accept it, it has the side effect that I'm totally exhausted. So you will be working and feel okay with effort, or you are tired, feeling energy, and later I feel exhausted.
it's good. That's why you go to sleep at night. What else to do watching TV? There are no problems to fix. And by the way, when I say effortless, it doesn't mean that if you don't make effort, you stay stagnant. Effort comes from the mind. Effort is like taking a flashlight and looking for the sun in the middle of the day. It is not needed. When you are in tune with life, life is passing through. It's not stagnant. Many things can happen through you, but it's happening without the one that claims ownership of it, that say, I did it, I achieved it. Effortlessness doesn't mean stagnancy. And exhaustion is not a problem. Om Shanti.